Hello, ladies. I don't know if anyone is here to join me yet. So we are going to have a chat about the art of optimism. So let's see if anyone else comes and joins in. I'm just going to bring you guys up on the Facebook as well, so I know one can see here. Into groups. And now group. There we go. Okay, so that's just saying that we're all here. Okay, so if anyone joins, that's great. If not, then I'll just have the discussion and the talk, and if people want to join in and share their thoughts when they have a look at this post later, then I'm happy to carry on discussing it with you guys later. So the topic I thought to do for today was the art of optimism. And this has really just come up for me because of, I guess, really the present circumstances that we're in, and understanding how different people focus on different aspects of what's going on around us. So some people are finding themselves having a very relaxed and wonderful time, starting to do things that they really enjoy, finding space for loved ones, painting, gardening. I've been seeing some very beautiful bits of works of art that people are sharing that they've got into whilst they're off. Taking time to contemplate, to relax, spend more time with their furry friends and partners. And then other people living much more in fear and doubt and concern and anxiety. And in all fairness, around us there's a lot of information that's contradictory. So if you are listening to things, you're not sure what's really going on. And during this environment, and I thought that just made me really think about the whole aspect of optimism. And I remember many years ago, actually probably about 10 years ago now, a good friend of mine was visiting from the States. He'd gone to work out there, and he'd been out there for about 8 years, I think. We were sitting having dinner and we were catching up on things, and he just laughed and he said, Mel, he goes, no matter what life throws at you, you're always an optimist. And he goes, that's what I love about you. You always see the optimistic and the positive side of what can go on and what can happen. And then I'd always have my mother doing the reverse and saying, oh my God, the problem with you is that you're such an optimist, that you just go out and do things and you don't worry about the consequences of actions and things like that. So it's kind of interesting, different people perceiving your optimism as a good thing, people perceiving optimism as a negative thing. And that had me kind of just thinking and reflecting a little bit about why and how can optimism be a positive thing and how can it be a negative thing. And I guess in my life journey, I've never been the most conventional of people, and I've kind of always tried to follow what feels right for me. And I guess that happened because I was in circumstances where a lot of things were very wrong for me, and I had that intuition that said I shouldn't be there, or I shouldn't be putting up with things as long as I was, or that this environment wasn't right for me, or these people weren't right for me. But convention determined that I should be there, and what was expected of me. Hi Lindsay, nice to see you online. So what was expected of me, that's what I should be doing, whether it felt right or whether it didn't feel right. And so that got me really thinking. And after sort of a rather large couple of incidents that happened together in my life, in my late 20s, as I was turning 30, I then sort of set myself free, and after that I never really worked for anybody again. I've always kind of worked for myself, had my own consultancy, done my own things, followed my own journey in that. And I guess that's always happened because I have an optimistic point of view. So for me, if I see the world as a place where there is a lot of opportunity, There's actually a lot of abundance. There's actually anything you want out there, and as long as your heart is in it, and that it feels really right for you, then you should go and explore that. You should go and experience that, and not let things hold you back, not let fears and doubts hold you back. And I guess that's why I ended up setting up my own businesses, and different ones. Some of them worked very well, some didn't work quite so well. Was it a bad thing to have done the ones that didn't work so well? Well, no, it was a good thing. I learned an awful lot out of those journeys. So even when I explored something that wasn't quite right, that didn't really work, didn't end up turning out how I'd seen it to my optimistic nature working, it wasn't that it was wrong. It was maybe just something I had to experience and I had to learn from, that I could apply again in the future. So I guess that's another optimistic point of view. As a pessimist would say, well, you know, if you'd have been more cautious and more careful, you would not have had to have gone through that experience in the first place, you know. So it's interesting. So I'm kind of intrigued, if any of you ladies watch this video joining in, what you think to that. You know, is it better to be pessimistic and cautious, and, you know, never make a mistake, but, you know, venture out into a circle of safety? Or is it better to be optimistic and, you know, put your toes out there, and even if the water's cold or frozen, you've had the experience of cold or frozen water, you know, you understand a little bit more. Your world is more contextual. You've expanded your knowledge and your experience more. And that then made me think, when I was 24 and I'd left university, I joined an organisation called Junior Chamber of Commerce, JCI, and it's an international leadership organisation set up for young people. I say this in inverted commas because it was anyone from the ages of 20 or 18 to 40. So quite a diverse range group. But it was set up for young people in business that wanted to develop themselves and grow themselves. And I went along and joined it because I wanted to get involved in the international projects, have a chance to work with people from different international communities back then. But I fell in love with all of the training and all of the personal development elements of it. And before I knew it, ended up becoming a local president and a national president of the organisation, and stayed in it for 15 years. So it obviously gave me a lot, if that's what I found useful. So let me just turn those notifications off. That wasn't very sensible. Yes, so anyway, in this organisation, the whole point of Junior Chamber was to create a safe environment in which you could grow and experience things and challenge yourself. So I had never had any intention of wanting to be a president of the organisation, even when I was in it. I just really enjoyed, as I said, you know, the personal development training, the international side of it, and, you know, learning and growing. But we got to a point in the organisation where they needed a new president to come in. Somebody else had dropped out last minute, and they wanted somebody with a bit more experience and wisdom of the organisation to do it. So they asked me if I would step up and take the role. And it wasn't really something I had any aspiration for, but it was an opportunity and it had arisen. And I didn't really enjoy taking responsibility for other people, which, you know, when you take a leadership role, actually that's the main thing that you're doing, is you're taking responsibility for other people. So, you know, I kind of like just to have my world, be very comfortable in my world, doing the things that work for me, and, you know, for the people that are interested in the same things as me. So I thought, okay, I'll take this opportunity and I'll step up and I'll do this. I have no idea if I'll be any good at it. It's not my normal thing to do. And I ended up with an incredible team around me that really supported me beautifully, and we really grew together. And that year we won Best Chamber in the World, out of all the chapters in the world. We won Best Chamber in Europe. We won Best Project at European and world level as well. So, you know, we did an amazing stuff as a team, and I got to experience that. Now, had I stayed in my safety zone and not pushed myself out of my safety zone, which I think optimism is. Optimism, I think, is about this ability to treat everything as an adventure and say, what the heck, and let's try it out and let's see and let's taste it and let's experience it. Whereas I think when you're pessimistic, it's really driven much more by fears and doubts, and about needing to be safe and about needing to be certain. And I guess in some environments, understanding risk is really, really important. But if you always worry about the risk, you'll never step forward. You'll never, step on the plane to take your first flight to another country to experience a beautiful and exotic and wonderful place. So I guess I would say that I like to be an informed optimist, that I like to know what's going on around me, to do my research around things, but to still take that positive stance. And a couple of sentences I was putting together, I was thinking about with optimism, was we always say, are you the person with the glass half empty, or are you the person with the glass half full? And I used to laugh and say, no, I'm not even half full. My glass is always full. It never empties. But the idea of optimism, journeying with it, is it better to be an optimist and be wrong? Or is it better to be a pessimist and be right? Just to contemplate that and think about that a little bit. And another aspect as well, is it that a pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity and therefore puts the brakes on things? And is it that an optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty? So let's have a little think about that last one. So if we are always worrying and every opportunity presents itself, but we're worrying and spending time deliberating and contemplating with it, then does that actually allow us to step forward? Does it allow us to explore? Does it allow us to expand and experience who we are, the capacity and the potential of who we are? Or does it always keep us in a safety cage? If we're an optimist and that we're always seeing the possibility in places of difficulty, does that not mean that we embrace life? That in actual fact, no matter what happens in life, we have an opportunity to step forward, to experience it. And it really comes back to our paradigm, how we see the world. Do our glasses a bit murky? Are they a little bit darkened, or are they bright and shiny? Do we have the rose tint on the glasses? Are we seeing clearly? I don't know. I don't know that an optimist always sees clearly. I'm not saying that that's the case. But an optimist certainly does see opportunity and growth and experience in things around them. And I know that when you walk around with fear and doubt, it's a little bit like having your shoulders hunched and your eyes on the ground in front of you, and you're just seeing the pathway that you're treading on, and you're forgetting to look up and see the birds and the trees, the roses and the flowers around you, the sunlight beaming down on you, and seeing what's there around you. And I think I would rather be seeing the sunlight even if I'm about to fall down a hole. Because guess what? I'll still be looking around me and I'll probably find a ladder to climb out of the hole. I don't know. These are just thoughts. I'm just sharing thoughts. So another one is optimism a wisdom in itself? Is it a wisdom because it allows us to keep positive? Is it a wisdom because it allows us to try and see the best in situations, the best in people, the best in ourselves even? I don't know. Is that another explanation? And somebody else sort of said to me, it's a bit like, a pessimist sees the wound beneath the scar, whereas an optimist sees the scar forming on the wound. So what I'm trying to say by that is that even when things are already healing, the pessimist is still pulling things apart. It's almost like they're trying to take the scab off the wound again and open it up. Whereas an optimist is like, okay, there's a wound, but let's start the healing process. I don't know. This again, just a thought. And then one last thing I'd written down here just to look at. So yes, so the optimist laughs to forget. That's another one that I looked up. The optimist laughs to forget. The pessimist forgets to laugh. And I guess in these times around us, it's very easy again to get caught up with, what's going on, and to forget to laugh, and how good it does feel when we do laugh together, when we do raise our spirits. And I think that's also something, having travelled around the world a lot of people don't understand Britons and British humour. But that's actually something that I really value in the British way of being, is this sense of humour. The British take the mickey out of themselves. They laugh at themselves in any situation. They make light of it. They even have a dark humour. They make jokes out of things that are dark, just to lift the perspective, I guess, a little bit, to change the feeling, to change the environment, to be able to laugh at oneself. And I think, you laugh to forget, or you laugh to change the energy, to change the vibration, the frequency. Whereas if you are forgetting to laugh at all, then you're caught and you're stuck in a situation that becomes very heavy, and we need to create lightness. And if I turn all of this from this discussion into more of a spiritual aspect, and what we mean by a spiritual viewpoint, if you're talking about different energies, then being light, being positive, being optimistic is a frequency that's much higher, much lighter. And being pessimistic is a frequency that's much heavier, that's much lower, that kind of pulls you down. It's going more into the energies of anger, frustration, impatience, fear, sadness, and that's a heavier vibration. So in spirituality, we're always wanting to lift our vibration to a higher level, to see things from a more positive perspective, to resonate at a more positive perspective. And if we think about things like the law of attraction, which is one of the universal laws, then if our energy is down here, we're attracting in what we see. So if we're seeing negativity, if the effect that we see is negativity, then we will be the cause of that negative effect. If what we see is positive, if the effect that we can see is positive, that if we're looking for that positivity, then the cause that we create for that effect is from us, and it's positive, and we will work and function and behave in a more positive way to enable us to achieve that outcome. So, and I was talking with a friend earlier today, and we were just talking about how we look at the world. And he was reminding me of what one of the spiritual teachers said from one of our other tantra schools, which was that optimism is a very spiritual attribute. It's a very spiritual attribute because when you're optimistic, you're transfiguring, which is a word we use in tantra, which means we are changing the way that we see into the divine. So we are looking through the eyes of the divine instead of the eyes of our humanness. And we see the beauty of the creation when we transfigure. So whether it's a person, a situation, an object, we're looking through the eyes of the divine to see the true beauty, the true creation, the true miracle of what is in front of us, rather than through the human eyes with our fears and doubts, which come from our ego-based thinking. So optimism to me, and I guess in thinking about this, is a form of transfiguring the world around you. And it's easier to travel through life seeing things positively, openly, and with love and with opportunity than it is to travel through life with fear and doubt and staying closed and locked down. And to have an open mind, I think you have to be optimistic. If you have a closed mind, then there's an element of pessimism in there. So today, actually, we were doing an Anahata practice for yoga, and we did Anahata meditation in my group in the Alchemy of Living. So just genuinely opening the heart up and opening the eyes up to seeing life in a more joyful, positive and optimistic way. But anyway, those are my thoughts. That's my share for today. My 20 minutes is up. Hopefully some of you lovely ladies will read this later and have an opportunity to, or listen to this later and have an opportunity to think about it and share your thoughts and comments below. Doesn't matter if it's not now or if it's in the future. And hopefully you'll join me. I'm on every fortnight, and just with ponderings and thoughts and musings, which I'm happy to share with you lovely ladies, and for you lovely ladies to share your thoughts and ponderings and musings in return. So I'll say goodbye from Mel Harris, and just say thank you to Lindsay for being online with me and for giving the opportunity to do these talks. All right, take care. Bye bye.